Tervetuloa Ruusu Open Mickiin ja sama på engelska. Welcome to Ruusu Open Mic. And I have a long list of things I'm supposed to read, so I'll read them really fast. I am Tanya Nathan, last I checked, and this is Ruusu Open Mic Helsinki, and it's organized by Helsinki Poetry Connection, and it's our once a month Ruusu Open Mic event. I think all of you know the drill. But we are working with Suomen kulttuurirahasto. Thank you for the cha-ching, cha-ching. We appreciate it. Kiitos teille. Ja myöskin Sorkan Ruusu. Eli tää on paikka. Woohoo! Sorkan Ruusu, kiitos teille. Ja myöskin Rautakukkaa, ketkä on siis sponsoroinut meidän ihana kukkakimpu, mitä 3 esittelijää saa ottaa kotiin. Ja suuri kiitos heille, iso taputusta. Suomen kulttuurirahasto, Sorkan Ruusu. Arvostan suuresti. No miten tämä ilta menee? Ensimmäisesti meillä on 2 lämmittelyesitystä. Ja se on tänään Muhaned Durubin ja Leah Stone. I get people's names wrong. Leah? Martin? Leah Martin. See, I got her name wrong. But Leah will come on first. Eli Leah ensin ja sitten Muhaned Durubin. Ja sen jälkeen meillä on 15 minuuttia pieni tauko. Ja se tauko aikana otetaan sitten Open Micin esitelijät nimet silloin. Ja tämä kerta, koska meillä on pieni korona juttu, in case you didn't know, there's a little corona thing happening. So please wash your hands, you dirty pigs. I love you, mutta Ja sitten myöskin ne mikkiä disinfioiti tapahtuu aina jokainen esitelijän jälkeen. Älä huoli sitä. Ja meillä on myöskin maskia siellä, jos haluaa pidä maskit. Ja sitten jos voi, pitää sitä turvavälit. Jos ei voi, sitten okay. So this Ruusu Open Mic event is produced by me, by the way, I'm Tanya Nathan, hi, and Elina, who is somewhere in the back area. Thank you, Elina. And please bear in mind that when you perform in the open mic segment, you will have 4 minutes. If you're good, we might give you 5, but usually it's about 4 minutes. And around the 3:59, I'll stand up, which means thank you. You can say good night, goodbye. And then if you keep going, I might come and get the mic from you. Please don't do that. Ja myöskin mä haluaisin mainostaa myöskin, että tämä on turvallinen tila. Elikkä this is a safer space. So if you are racist, homophobic, sexist, ableist, transphobic, etc., I will come and get the mic from you. Or someone else will. There'll be a rush to get the mic from you. Elikkä älä teet sitä. Oliks jotain vielä? Ei, mä uskon, että kaikki on nyt sanottu. Hyvä, koska mun ääni on ärsyttävä. Eli ensimmäinen lämmittelijäakti meillä on tänään Leah Martin. Welcome.
Hey. Let's start with a poem. Om. Om, they say, is the sound of the universe. So I cover crotch and cross legs, make shadow dog fingers and rest them at my sides, breathe the groceries out of lists, breathe that flesh sucked in the spandex, stays in the spandex. Om, they say, is the sound of the universe. Om nom nom is the sound of the munchies. So I cut the bag top, reach shadow dog fingers like coin-plugged prize grippers. Breathe the seasoned kettle chips. Breathe the full breath. Hi, everybody. I am Leah, and I started writing poetry at a very young age. When I was in middle school, there was a unit on poetry, and I hated it. And in order to make it more fun, the girl who sat next to me, Celisa Grant, her and I would make fun of the poems and write our own, and then pass them as notes to other people. And although we were making fun of it, something stuck with us. And actually, to this day, both of us are poets. And although in my poems there's some like sense of humor with them, really what I took from that first class and not liking it was that I really like poetry that's approachable and that people can understand. Even if there are layers of meaning, you can still laugh and you can still kind of know what's going on at first go. So the next 2 poems I read, I'm gonna read them straight after each other. A poem I wrote at 19. Guess the house from the angle I held the sticks. To stick, to be planted, stay put. But slanted I wait for my father to come home, to come bricks and plaster and wood-burning stove, to see but not accept. Accept perfect. Perfect and fair, her hand he didn't hold, but gripped instead a grudge. Begrudge me not, he'd say, did not, sought not the apples that day, dropping like ash from the trees they sat. When picked to hold, she plugged her nose. He sold the ring, rise hand, unfolds, untold. Clarification on a vague poem I wrote at 19. When I asked, guess the house from the angle, what I meant was my house. What I meant was the angle of my brother's back against the wall, my father's hands on his chest. Mom was in the bathtub plugging her nose, the shampoo never washed from her long, thick hair. When I said I held the sticks, I meant the sticks in our backyard, my job to pick them up before my brother mowed the lawn. If left as they lay, the machine would jam, and it would be our faults. What I asked was guess, but I meant I won't tell you how I stayed put most nights my parents fought, my father's veins pulsed behind the door. How I took the rain, but when it thundered, escape was in the basement. The ceiling shook in shock, my brother held my hand. Was I too subtle? Was slanted I wait? What I meant was the slant of my brother's smile after a bad case of Bell's palsy. How I waited for the nerves to return to normal like my father who was home but always alone, who built the fire but never stoked it. My brother chopped the wood. Was I not clear when I said she was perfect? She was my mother. She was, still is. When I wrote the day the apples dropped, I meant 2 begrudging years. My father in an RV at the campground down the street, my mother pacing back and forth, begging him to return to the unfinished basement, even if he came kicking and screaming. When I wrote the day the apples dropped, I meant 2 years of them splitting as they hit the ground, rotten before descent. He said he chose, and he did exactly that. I was too weak to hold a pen that dripped down. My trees in some friendly forest. Brick. The day table his lips, his face. He tired. So Chris came and asked, did doctor, it's cute. It's a Halloween to the devil. This not, but if they do walk down the street, carry with you a flag dyed blue with bold lettering that says, "Look away." And when you see prostitutes and the homeless and the wayward single people with their painted toenails and Uncle Teddy, who we still love as a family but we don't talk to or acknowledge, wave that flag like your children's lives depend on it, because they do. And if they don't look away, and if they say, "Mommy, those people look happy," you take your child's face in your hands and you shake it. And you shake it. And you shake it hard and you recite Ecclesiastes 1, verse 2. You say, "Vanity's a vanity, vanity's a vanity, all is vanity." And they will understand. And if they don't understand, you will send them to camp. And you'll make sure it's not the kind of camp with s'mores or friendship bracelets or capture the flag, but the kind with plastic mattresses they have to bleach themselves. The type of camp where if your child gets her period, the counselors will give her a styrofoam pad that can be seen through her capri pants. And if she does not have capri pants, they will give her a pair. And they'll be 2 sizes too small and stained with the blood of campers that came before. And the whole camp will shout before every meal, "Shame, shame, shame on you." And if you do this, all of this, assuming you practice daily prayers, confession, and the Sabbath and all that, your children will be spared. And it will be your fault. Spooky stuff, scary. All right. If I were a pumpkin, I'd let you cut me open, scrape my insides, stroke my guts, roast my oval seeds. If I were a pumpkin, I'd be happy to sit on your stoop and watch the dogs walk by, drooling on their leashes. I'd be happy to be growled at. I'd be happy to be peed on. Light me up and turn on the night. If I were a pumpkin, I wouldn't make it to molding. I'd flash the neighborhood boys a smile so they'd choose to smash me first. It wouldn't hurt. I'd already be hollow. Light me up, turn me on, choose me, smash me first. Speaking of nightmares, we're in a global pandemic, and I've had some times where I've had writer's block, and then I've had other times where I've written, and this is a song inspired by my time in quarantine, and it's called "For Alex and Marion Couples in Quarantine." In the middle of May, lovebirds clean to kill time. No need for a clock when you can't leave the building. Starting with drawers, we sift through old papers, toss receipts for toilet paper, save a recipe for mommy, if she makes it. In this small apartment, there is no room to hide. Big dump this morning, huh? That song again. In a small apartment, there's no space for escape, yet deep in the closet, we find things gone missing. Here, buried at the bottom of a backpack, shining beneath a stinky shirt, you retrieve a flask, half full, not seen since summer. The finished coat of arms is etched in stainless steel. The lion on its front winks, cheeky, like some bored clown. Unscrewing the cap, whiskey wafts like a summons. Your eyes smile, mine water. You say, "Liquor? I almost forgot her." One task is abandoned and another takes form. We grab towels and water, bring the vasta to celebrate. The sound is hot upon arrival. We smirk hello to wet butterflies stamped in sweat on the bench before us, a sign of tenants beyond ourselves, a sign of butts bare as our own. From your perch in the corner, you let water drop from a ladle. Lulu rises from the stove like a mask above a Jewy chin. Underneath the steam, you swig, then pass to me. I drink, then smack my lips. I only like it when I've had too much. For several minutes, we don't speak. What's left to say between potted partners? When words fail, we hum thanks to our livers. How long will they live? I've thought of something. Without glasses, can you tell when I stare at your junk? No, you chuckle. It's not all vision. Even hindsight's blurry with sweat in your eyes. Your elbows rest on slippery knees. I take the vasta in hand and drum it across your back, chirping along with the beating brand. Tippy, tippy tea. An old Eurovision tune is our quarantine classic. It's the bane of your existence and the refrain of mine. The song tracing spiral, each on its own branch. Here in the heat, we see whooper swans dancing through a techno sandstorm, flying in formation, yet with new regulations, 1.5 meters apart. Here in the heat, we can't ignore the caw of the hungry crow, the coo of the mourning doves en masse, the puny yelp of the balding eagle. Here, water drops easy as frail bodies. Steam forms a helix as it rises to our faces. Tippy tea, tippy tippy, tippy tea. Steam rises. We face it, heads pounding. Are viruses killed in heat? Sauna tontu will either bless us or curse us. Tippy tea, tippy tippy, tippy tea. I love people who hate themselves. I love people who hate themselves. People who wake up in the morning and say, "Don't be an asshole today," then come home at night and pray they won't be one tomorrow. I love people who hate themselves, people who look at their bodies as if they are sinkholes, who can't look at their bodies unless they are drinking, who mistrust their sagging chin, who think it's a sign they're becoming their father, who hate their father, who hate their father. I love people who hate themselves, people who hate voting for president, who hate voting, who hate not voting, who hate themselves for counting. I love people who hate themselves, people who dwell on things they said a decade ago, who can't get over how they made their mother feel when she was sad, when she was their mother, who believe it was their fault. I love people who hate themselves, people who hear "I love you" through face masks, who chose not to have children because they think they'd ruin them, who cheat because they don't feel lovable, who stay when they hurt, who think about the things they deserve. I love people who hate themselves, who hate that they're talking, who hate that they're lying, who hate that they're laughing, who hate that they're not crying. I love people who hate themselves, people who suck it up with a trembling lip, who fall to their knees and scream their prayers, who stay in bed, who stay in bed. I love people who hate themselves, people who can't stand to stare in the mirror and say, "I hate myself. I love myself." I love people who hate themselves. I just have one more poem. I lost my grandmother a few months ago, and I was really struggling of writing a poem for her. And then my mom called me, and I think she gave me this poem. A call from Mom, just to say, "I dreamt of you last night. You were young, maybe 5, with white blonde hair. I said, 'It looks cute, cut like that.' With hands on your hips, you said, 'You cut it, Mom. Don't you remember?' I didn't. Then I was ushered into a middle seat in a jam-packed stadium row. Your grandma was there. I said, 'You're dead.' And she just bit a hot dog. The hot dog had a bun, so I guess she could eat gluten, and she looked really happy. She said, 'Settle in, darling. The twins are playing. Bertha's gonna knock this one out of the park.' Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much, Leah Martin. Sorry I given you surname. But that was amazing. That was amazing. A razor sharp poet with a razor sharp wit hidden in words. We loved it. Ja nyt me haluaa sanoa tervetuloa seuraavaa lämpärit. Muhaned Durubin. Hän on myöskin taiteilija, artisti ja lavarunoja. Ja Muhaned lukee hänen runot sitten arabiaksi ja Kalle sitten kantaa se suomeksi. Eiks niin? Tervetuloa. Kiitos.
Well, hello everybody. I will read from the two books that I have been cooperate with Enostonen. The first poem, it's called Karlin Koto Seitsemän, and it's nearby. It's about almost 5 years ago. I came as a refugee here, and this is place is refugee camp, and now they are destroyed to build a new building. It's interesting to see that it does not exist anywhere, but there is a poem about it. And the poem is about something happening in the neighborhood. For sure, I would like to read in Finnish, but my suomen kielin taso ei ole tarpeeksi. Tuon suomeksi, tämä on rono. Tuon suomen kieltä on todella eri. Ja toinen asia se on, ei ole minun sisään ääni. Se on toinen asiakin. I will read it from the book. Then the next, I will read it from Rusty Sketches, this cooperation with Enostonen. I'm a visual artist, but I do a visual poetry book, and there is many illustrations with the short poem, and it's talk about isolation, exiled, and war, and the big question as a poet too. And I hope you enjoy the Arabic language. If you don't understand it, it's still like. شارع كارلين كاتو 7. ما تبقى في جيبي يوروان بعض السجائر في علبة الدخان كتيب صغير أحمر تبدو قدماي كطيرين محنطين أجرهما بتثاقل على صفائح الثلج البيضاء من شارع إلى شارع، من شارع إلى شارع، مثل أمير في قداسته بكيت. أجوب بورات سورناينن، أغني للحقراء في كاليو، أحتسي آخر القطرات في الكؤوس المنسيات، أقبل أحمر الشفاه المتبقي على أعقاب السجائر المتروكات. أعد من شتاء فنلندا صيفا، أطالع الوجوه لعلي أجد ضحكة منسية، بدلا من وجه مفروك بالجليد يصيح باسكا باسكا. صمت كالإسمنت، صمت كالإسمنت الثقيل يخيم على وجوههم. أعترف كل مساء أنني مجنون، رغم أنني لست سوى تائه يتعفن في ثلاجة. كم أتمنى أن أحلق عاليا مع بصاق المداخن. الليل طويل جدا، الليل طويل جدا في هلسنكي، يكتظ برائحة الصمت. صمت 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 يليق بالمجانين. كل شيء هادئ هنا حتى لا يبدو مستحيل أن ينتحر أحدا. المدينة بلا أضلاع كالمدافن. الغجر أمام محطة القطار كسرب نوارس اقترف جريمة التحليق. اللاجئون في كل مكان كالبعوض الطافي على سطح الماء. هربوا كالعادة. قد تعلموا أن لا يموتوا. قد تعلموا أن لا يموتوا. كالأنبياء افترشوا الأرصفة يفتشون عن ملامح وجوههم المسكينة. العاهرات في شارع ألكسينكيفي يبدون كندمدا على الأرصفة. هرمن ولم يعدن مثيرات. عند الليل في شارع كارلين أتعرى، أركض، أرخص. الحرب لا تنتهي في بلادي، الحرب لا تنتهي في بلادي، الحرب لا تنتهي في بلادي، بل تعود بمساحيق جديدة. ندعو الزلزال كي نبني من الأجساد العارية كهرم الحرية الأمريكي. في سجن أبو غريب وحدها الحرب، وحدها الحرب، وحدها الحرب هي من تعمل بجد وتطارد أوجه العابرين. نحتاج المزيد من الصمت، فالصمت وحده عالم خال من الشتائم.
Kaarlenkatu 7. Taskussa jäljellä 2 euroa. Pari tupakkaa askissa. Pieni punainen kirja marksismista. Jalat kuin 2 täytettyä lintua, joita laahaan valkeilla jääkentillä kadulta kadulle. Jalkakäytävillä kuin prinssi pyhyydessään itken. Koluan sörnäisten kapakoita, laulan kallion kurjille. Juon jämät unohdetuista laseista. Keräilen tyhjiä oluttölkkejä. Suutelen huulipunan jälkiä tupakan tumppeissa. Teen Suomen talvesta kesän. Pälyilen vieraita ilmeitä, jos niiltä vaikka löytyisi unohtunut hymy, eikä vain lumipesty naama, joka huutaa paska, paska! Niiden kasvoilla jurottaa sementin hiljaisuus. Joka ilta tunnustan jalkakäytävillä olevani hullu. Vaikka olen kuin jääkaapissa mätänevä eksykki. Ruumis voipunut kuin itsemurhaa hautava pilvi. Saisipa lentää korkealle kuin piippujen sylkemä savu. Yö on Helsingin talvessa pitkä. Hiljaisuuden löyhkästä sakea. Hullujen hiljaisuuden. On niin tyyntä, ettei täällä uskoisi kenenkään tappavan itseään. Kyljetön kaupunki kuin hautausmaa. Romanit rautatieasemalla. Lentämiseen syyllistynyt lokkiparvi. Pakolaiset kaikkialla. Surviaisia veden pinnalla. Paossa, kuten aina. Ovat vihdoin oppineet olemaan kuolematta liian aikaisin. Vain mudearit taitavat jäämisen kielen. Kuin profeetat ne lankeavat jalkakäytäville etsimään hamaan tulevaisuuteen lykättyjen kaupunkiensa kasvoja. Aleksis Kivenkadun huorat, kuin arpeutumaton haava, käytöstä kulahtaneet, viehätysvoima vietynä. Yöllä Kaarlenkatu 7 vokissa Riisuudun alasti, juoksen ja huudan. Sota ei lopu minun maassani, se palaa uudessa maskissa. Ehdotan asukkaille. Pinotaan alastavat ruumiit pyramiidiksi niin kuin Abu Ghraibin amerikkalaisten vapauden pyramiidi. Sota on ainoa, joka tässä maailmassa paiskii töitä. Se jahtaa ohikulkijoiden varjoja ja tekee maaplänteistä huolipyydyksiä. Tarvitaan lisää hiljaisuutta, jotta sodat kuolisivat sukupuuttoon. Tarvitaan lisää hiljaisuutta, sillä vain hiljaisuus on maailma vailla pilkkahuutoja.
Kiitos, thank you, shukran. The second book is like more combined between the illustration is quite dark collection. It's inspired by Francisco Goya about the civil war that happened in Spain. Then it's influenced to do this book Rusty Sketches about the civil war that I have been gross in Iraq after 2003 to 2014. And this is 3 language, so if you don't know Finnish, there is English, and if you don't know English, there is Finnish.
And Arabic.
And Arabic, for sure, if you would like to learn Arabic. كي تخترع قصيدة إلى قصب manata runo nuolla hiljaisuutta. يكاد يكون أجمل ما تكتبه حين تتهاوى.
Aivan kuin kaunein kirjoittamasi asia kumpuaisi romahduksestasi.
الشاعر موته أليف جدا.
Runoilijalla oli lauhkea kuolema. Erittäin lauhkea kuolema.
كل إنسان مسحور بخطاياه.
Jokainen ihminen lumoutuu omista synneistään.
بلا غاية بلا غاية حامل فوق رأسي كوابيس العالم.
Päämäärättä. Kannan maailman painajaisia päässäni.
Kiitos, thank you so much.
Kiitos. Ja näitä kirjoja ja montaa muutakin hyvää teosta saa ostaa tuosta pieneltä myyntipöydältä, joka on ensimmäisen tauon auki. Ja sieltä löytyy myös tämän päivän kuvaajan Lassen aivan painotuoretta kaksikielistä sarjakuvateosta Bobby.
Kiitos.
Kiitos. Thank you very much.